Okay, so welcome to I'm from out of state. What's going on? Again, my name is Melissa Dean, and I'm with Mikey McCarrans today. We are excited to have y'all here with us to have an informal conversation with our current students that are from out of state. We wanted this to be an open forum or area for you to interact with current students who came from out of state, far away, who to share with you what they did to get acclimated to LSU. Again, this is my contact information and Mikey's contact information. This slide will be available to you at the end of our presentation. So again, if you have any questions you would like for the group to answer, please use the chat function in Zoom to list those questions for us. Each student that we have, we have 5 students, they will take their turns doing like a little introduction about themselves. After we are done with our last student, that's when we will open Q&A. So if you want to do it through chat or you want to have your microphone on, feel free to do it. We want this to be an area for y'all to just ask those questions that y'all are nervous about coming to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for. So with that, Natalie, it is your turn.
Hey everyone, so my name is Natalie. I'm a 4th year biological engineering student. I'm originally Brazilian Venezuelan, but came from Houston over to LSU to pursue my degree. So what made me kind of choose LSU, I came to visit one weekend and I just fell in love with the campus. Everyone walking around was very welcoming. Kind of fell in love with the culture of LSU and Baton Rouge, all the wonderful food it had to offer, which was part of my tour, which is great. I've gotten really involved on campus, and that has helped me kind of make friends, find new environments, and kind of make LSU my home for the last 3 years now. So was very involved with SHIP, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and through that, I've been gaining some leadership experience as well as a lot of volunteering with local schools here in Baton Rouge, which has been great to give back to the community that opened the doors to me. Some cool stuff that I managed to do here too is, as a biological engineer, we get to design a playground our first year. So even working with little kids and getting to know them, you get to know your community, and just it's a pretty cool thing to do when you go into an interview and say that you build a playground or design a playground. Wonderful community. You can go to football games. I don't think you walk down anywhere on campus on a football game and no one's gonna, like, everyone welcomes you to the tailgate, is ready to just share the experience with you. So that's wonderful. And one of the main reasons I chose LSU was also because of all the support they provided from being there out of state. So since I started, I've had an academic advisor that has helped me kind of guide me with what I want to do, both in school and out of school. And I managed to get an internship with GE Healthcare, going on my 2nd year now with them. So it's definitely a wonderful experience and recommended for everyone.
Great. Sam, your turn.
All right. Hi, my name is Sam Eves. I am I'll be a 4.5-year senior at LSU. I graduate in December in chemical engineering. I'm from Anderson, South Carolina, which is about 30 minutes from Clemson University. So I never once wanted to go to Clemson University. I ended up at LSU because my dad went to vet school at LSU, is from a small town in Louisiana. So I've got a lot of family down here, but I've lived in South Carolina my whole life. And so I always I grew up an LSU sports fan, watched every football game, basketball game, baseball game. Got to go to a few games growing up, and wanted to go to LSU and be a student and get to experience football and all sports as a student. Well, there's a lot more to that than just going to sporting events. So I came down and toured the school, really just liked the campus, saw that the engineering program was really good. The chemical engineering department was one of the best in the country. And so it was just an easy decision for me to make the 9-hour drive down to Baton Rouge. And the transition from South Carolina to Baton Rouge was pretty easy for me. I ended up starting to work for the basketball team my freshman year, so I made a lot of friends that way, and then just met some people that lived kind of around me that actually were from where I have some family. So it was really nice being able to just make friends with them. And so I've done a lot of stuff while at LSU, like I said, I worked for the basketball team. Down there in the bottom, that picture is at our junior presentation day. So we do a group presentation, which was a really cool experience because you kind of put with random people and you work on a project for a whole semester. So I really think that's cool. And basically everything else has to do with sports. That's kind of been my main focus while at LSU when it's not on school. I got to go to the national championship. I got to go to the semifinal game. The picture on the top was we won the intramural dodgeball championship, which is still probably my greatest accomplishment in college. So it's been an awesome 4 years. I'm sad that it's going to end in December, but I'm excited I got one more semester. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Okay, Gloria, your turn.
Hey y'all, so I'm going into my 3rd year at LSU. I study environmental engineering and political science. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I actually went to a dual credit residential academy for my last years of high school. So I kind of like knew what it felt like to live away from home. And like I knew what college kind of felt like, but I didn't know what 13 hours away from home felt like. And so it was like, it's a blessing and a curse. Like, I just took it as like a new opportunity. And like, that's what I've enjoyed the most about Louisiana and LSU is just discovering so many new things. Like going to Mardi Gras and like I went to the coast and it looked like the end of the world. It was crazy. Everything's so flat and it blew my mind. And then I had never seen a football game in my entire life, literally. And then I came to LSU and my mind was blown, my world was shaken, and I'm a huge football fan now. I can carry on a conversation about it. Never thought I'd be able to. So that's been pretty great. I actually went to the SEC championship, and then I went to New Orleans for the national championship, but not to the game because I'm poor. Yeah, I guess I got involved on campus when I was a freshman. I did the LSU women's lacrosse team. And then this past year I joined the Society of Peer Mentors, which I think you guys are going to talk about later. And then I'm a leader in an organization called Go Green, which is like sustainability based. And then I'm heavily involved in the honors college too. So if I'm not in the engineering building, I'm over there. And then what else? And I'm an SI for fluid mechanics. So if you take that in the next 2 years, I can be your SI. That's it for me.
Great. Tim, your turn.
Hey, I'm Tim. Sorry, everybody else went really hard on their slides. I struggled to find this one picture. I'm from Pennsylvania, pretty far, but it was a pretty easy transition. I came down for a tour my senior year of high school, and I just fell in love with the campus. It's pretty easy to do. It's a great little home away from home. I'm a senior biological engineering student. Natalie really touched on all the points I was going to touch on, but it's a little niche group. I mean, there's probably 60 of us left in our graduating class. So I mean, it's a nice little pocket of people that you know in a big school. It's easy to get lost. So I really enjoy that little aspect of it. My freshman year, I didn't get involved. I know everybody was saying they're getting involved. Didn't get involved in my sophomore year. I found it really helped me. So I encourage you guys to get involved. I was told I need to talk about SPM. We're going to touch a bit later, but Society of Peer Mentors is an engineering outreach club here on campus. I love it. They put on, it's called Go Engineering this year. They'll talk about that in a little bit too. We did E Squared. It's just a little bit different this year. I was a leader last year, and then 2 years ago as a participant. I love it. It made me plenty of friends to study with in the College of Engineering in all disciplines. So I highly encourage that. A couple other clubs. I'm the president of the Biological Engineering Student Organization on campus. So if you're a BE, join that. And I found working actually really improved my grades, being busy. I'm a TA for 2 classes in the BE curriculum. I work at Pennington Biomedical. I do research there. Just get involved is my biggest thing. And my favorite part is football games, obviously. Gloria touched on that too. Y'all are stealing my thunder.
Awesome, thank you. And last but not least, Madeline, your turn.
Hey y'all, my name's Madeline. So I am a fourth year mechanical engineering student. I'm from Houston, Texas, so not as far away as some of the other people. But my story is a little different. Both my parents are from Louisiana, so I have a big LSU background. Most of my family is still in Louisiana, so it wasn't as going away from my family. I was going kind of closer to a lot more people. But before my senior year of high school, LSU was not even like on my radar. I was going to apply. I was always going to be an LSU fan because that's how I was raised. I was going to go to UT. I was going to stay in Texas. It was a great school. It was kind of split where my high school was going. And then I did visit the College of Engineering. Luckily for me, my freshman year was when they were building this brand new building. So it was absolutely gorgeous when you first walked into, and I had been on campus a million times, and this building was never there before. So kind of seeing that and like how the engineering whole department was kind of changing and upgrading was really, really cool. And just kind of fell in love with it. Through that, being in engineering when I got here, I immediately joined the Chevron Engineering Ambassadors because that's kind of who convinced me to come. So I got involved with that and Society of Women in Engineering, as well as the Mechanical Engineering Department, their club. So kind of, I mean, it's a common theme through everyone getting involved. I was very, very, very close to my parents in high school. I was the baby of the family, so kind of relied on them for everything. So even leaving 4.5 hours away was very, very difficult for me. I'm still one of those people that calls my mom 10 times a day, no matter what I'm doing. So that never changed. But for me, staying busy and getting involved, meeting as many people as I can, kind of created a new family in Louisiana. So even though I miss being home when I leave LSU in Louisiana, I also miss being at LSU now. So it's kind of you have two homes instead of just one at a certain point. I guess I'm the only ME, so I can talk a little bit about that. Mechanical engineering is bigger than bio and some of the other ones, so it is kind of harder to narrow it down. Something for me that I found helpful was I lived in the engineering resident college my freshman year, so I was able to find my engineering friends and study group right away my freshman year because I was living, my roommate was an ME, a lot of the girls on my floor were ME, so I could find kind of everyone in my classes right away, and I'm still friends with those people 3 years later. They're still my same lab groups. So yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, students. Okay, so now it's time for question and answer. Again, students that are in the panel, that are in the room, feel free to either ask over audio or use the chat function. We will gladly answer questions aloud. If anyone needs me to get started with a question, I will. Let's see. Okay, for the panel, what has been, besides football, what has been your most favorite thing about LSU?
I'll kick it off. I think one of my favorite things about LSU, other than football, is kind of like the community in a way. Kind of like Tim mentioned in his chat, the B department's really small, so we've known each other since we started school and kind of see each other grow through every class. So it's nice to see kind of the same faces as you go along, as well as like the PFT is kind of like the best place to hang out in my opinion. It's never really empty, so sometimes you have trouble finding a table if you want to study, but it's pretty cool when you walk down the hall and you see people from your class. They're kind of like welcome you to study, so it's a cool place to kind of just go hang out, and it's probably my favorite place to just chill sometimes.
Yeah, the BE department's really close knit. I mean, we do a crawfish boil at the end of the year every year, which we skipped this year, unfortunately. But that's probably my favorite part, just like the close knit of my major.
I'm going to chime in a little bit. I love Panera, and that's in PFT, which is really nice. But also, I was able to study abroad last summer. I forgot to mention that earlier. Through the LSU Environmental Engineering Department, and so I was close with my major and my department chair, but now I'm even closer. So if you have any study abroad questions, I got you on that too.
Are we all answering? Okay. Mine, not to suck up to Melissa or anything, has 100% been joining ambassadors. I found one of my best friends and roommate through engineering ambassadors. So coming in, kind of being the youngest one of my year, I guess. Everyone was older than me, and it was super beneficial to be able to learn from them and use them as guidance to kind of help me figure out which classes to take. And it was definitely a blessing for me.
All right, I guess I'll end it. It's not football. Oh, my dogs are barking. It's not football, but it is sports related. For me, it was probably intramural sports because a lot of the people just go play high school sports, are very competitive, and then they get to college and they're not doing that anymore. And I still need that competitiveness every now and then. So to play, I play all types of sports. And they keep barking. Oh, man. So just, you can play just about anything, ones that you're good at, that you are really competitive for, just like really just ones for fun, like softball, which I sucked at, but it was a lot of fun. So I think, and that was a way I met a lot of friends too. So that was probably been my favorite experience at LSU.
Cool. Okay, I received a question. How about a couple of you answer this? What's the best way to manage your workload, especially with the transition from high school to college? Baton Rouge, tailgating is really popular. Football is really popular. We're pretty busy all the time besides just school. How do y'all best handle the workload you have with your degree program?
I guess I can start. I would say for sure get a planner. It's going to be time management. You're going to have to be able to figure out when your tests are. And it's not high school. You can't study the night before. So you kind of have to, whatever system works best for you, be able to plan out when you need to study for what. That goes back to a lot of what we were saying at the beginning is staying busy. You're going to be a lot more productive the more you have to do, the less time you have to just sit there. So get a planner.
I would say you're going to find a lot more free time in college because in high school, you're in class 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. In college, you're in class maybe 3 hours a day, sometimes even less than that. So you'll get these big gaps sometimes between classes to where you're have nothing to do. So I would just what the best advice I've probably been given is treat college like a 9-to-5 job, where if you just do your work for 7 or 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, then you usually don't have to do much on the weekends, which is nice because during football season, Saturdays and Sundays are a wash. I'm not doing any studying unless maybe I have an exam. And then even then Friday afternoon's a wash too. So if you just go hard Monday through Thursday and then a half day on Friday, that really makes it to where you have those good rest days on Saturday and Sunday where you're not having to think about school, and that re-energizes you to just do it all again the next week.
Okay, awesome. We've had a question come in where someone's some students are still deciding between majors within engineering because, again, we offer 11 to choose from. Natalie, how about you answer? You already talked about biological engineering, but how about you answer a question about how they can find out what engineering major is right for them, especially their freshman year, and how freshman year works.
So something cool about freshman year is that you're going to take kind of general engineering classes. There are some that are major related, but that doesn't really hold you back a year. So for example, one way that you can kind of find out which engineering you want to do is kind of joining clubs. Most of these engineering clubs, engineering majors have their own club, like Tim and Madeline have mentioned. The biological engineering department has their own, mechanical, chemistry, and all that. And they usually bring professionals every other week or once a month to kind of talk about how they use their degree in the real world. So it's a really cool way of kind of seeing where you want to go and what degree you want to pursue. So for myself, I knew I wanted to do biological, but I didn't know how I wanted to use it. So one thing that really helped me was joining SHIP and also attending some BSO meetings here and there to kind of see if I wanted to go more medical, if I wanted to do more design work or something like that. So it's definitely a good way to kind of see where you can go in the future. Go, Tim.
Sorry. We also, our first BE course, we do a interview with recent alumni of the BE department. And we have, set questions that we ask, and then we have a couple open-ended. And through that, I really found that, I really liked biological engineering. I know a lot of people dropped. I think we went to, from 120 to, 70 our first year. and just because people switch majors, and it happens, better to do it early, I guess. But I found that really helped me.
Madeline, how do you talk about mechanical engineering, but also talk about how do you select, like when can you select a minor? Talk about aerospace engineering's minor because it's really common. Just talk about like how you can add a minor at LSU with engineering.
Adding a minor is super, super easy. I'm getting a minor in robotics right now. It's going to be back to using your advisors. So for each different minor, there's going to be a certain advisor that's like coordinating that minor. And you pretty much go see them and they're going to talk you through kind of the game plan of which classes you have to take. And what's super, super nice is there's normally like 25 classes and you only need 3 of them. So you can kind of pick and choose which ones, like even within aerospace, I don't know specifically theirs, but you'll be able to pick like different paths within it. So I know like in robotics, I could have gone industrial or prosthetics or like manufacturing or automotive. So there's always like different ways you can kind of specify even within a minor to kind of get more of what you like. For mine, it was only 3 extra classes and one of them can count towards my mechanical major too. So it's really not that much of like an added load. And it's super, super easy to add and you can drop it at any time if you decide you can't do it or if it's too much or if you're just not interested in it anymore, you can drop it at any time and it does nothing to you.
Yes, so that's one thing with our program. Engineering does not require students to have a minor. Some other programs on campus require students to have a minor in order to graduate. So like Madeline said, you can drop it if you're not going to graduate on time, but you want to graduate on time, then you can drop it. Next question I have is for Gloria. One, everyone wants to know where you studied abroad. And then second thing is so I'll also preface this too. Do other engineering majors have specific study abroad trips? I will say there were going to be a lot more this summer and then COVID happened. So I'll have Gloria talk about all of those study abroad experiences.
So yeah, while it's on my mind, I know biological engineering was supposed to take a big trip this summer. I think they were doing 2 classes to like Romania and I forget the other place, but that got canceled. But I, again, did mine through the environmental engineering department. I was like the first year that they decided to go. And I think other departments are starting to pick this up too. So like, I think it'll be more popular within the coming years. But we did 3 weeks in the Netherlands. We stayed in Rotterdam, which is like an hour outside of Amsterdam, and we studied hydrology. And so we also had people from Rice come. And so it was like 16 LSU students, and there were a couple Kimmies in there too. But then there were like 4 or 5 Rice students as well. So we had some Rice professors and LSU professors like as our professors, because it was like an LSU in the Netherlands program. And then we did 3 weeks in London. And so that was studying urban sustainability. And so, which was so cool. Oh my gosh. And then the same thing, we had like a combination of Rice and LSU professors teaching like on a university's campus in London. Yeah, did that answer sufficiently?
Gloria, how did you find out about your study abroad? Like how did you hear about the specific study abroad trips for your major?
So like they've been saying, environmental engineering is one of the smaller ones, the smaller departments, but Dr. Pardue, my department chair, just emailed all of us and was like, hey, who's interested? It's a first come, first served basis. And so I signed up as soon as I could. Yeah.
I'm going to cut in real quick. I appreciate that, Gloria. Regarding Mark's question as well about deciding between majors, I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know what you want your major to be just yet, and that's totally fine. We do have these things we call one sheets. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now. You can follow that link and look at the one sheet for whatever major you're interested in. So all 11 majors will have a one sheet. It'll give a brief overview of the major and then a flow chart for all classes you'll be taking. So that's a good source if you are still curious about learning more about every major. Go to that link and take a look at the one sheets because they are very helpful and they show what you do with your career in that field as well. So for Mark and anybody else who's still not totally sure about what you want to do, that's totally fine, but that might be a good resource for you. I also was going to have one brief question for Gloria too. You mentioned being an SI, and at least if I was in high school, I might not have known what an SI is. So if you want to talk about what an SI is, that might be helpful as well.
So an SI is a supplemental instructor. So this will be for a lot of like your core engineering classes. It's just a student who's already taken the class, who kind of like not necessarily retakes the class with you, but like sits in on the class, and they're in constant communication with you, and they hold additional like informational sessions full of practice problems outside of class time hours, and then they'll host office hours. Right now I've been doing it remotely, so it just depends. Does that help?
I can personally attest to SIs saving my life in a lot of engineering classes, because some of these classes, like LSU professors are amazing and geniuses, but sometimes they just like cannot dumb down the information for you to like understand. So students who have taken it and done well in the class are way more like able to explain in ways that we can understand. So it's nice. So they literally sit there for like an hour and a half and work through problems with you. So you can like ask them questions, and it's like a personal tutor for free because LSU pays them. And I highly recommend going to them.
I was going to chime in to put a number on SIs because everybody can just say they're great and all, but there's some data to back it up. I know for organic chemistry, which is like honestly one of the hardest classes I've taken at LSU in chemical engineering, the students who go to at least 3 SIs a semester make a whole letter grade on average better than students who don't. And so when I found that out, I started going. So I would recommend going to them.
Cool. Appreciate that, you guys. We also have a question from Christian about scholarships. I can just say myself that once you're in the College of Engineering, which will happen after you have 24 credits, you have a 2.0 GPA or better through those 24 hours, and you've passed Calc 1 with a C or better. Once you do all that, usually that'll be after your freshman year, you'll be in the college officially, and then all of the college-specific scholarships will open up for you. So I believe you really just fill out a form, you bring it to the Student Services Suite, and then we'll let you know what scholarships you are eligible for. So the process is pretty simple. I don't know if any of you students have done that before, but if you want to talk about that, you can.
Sam, how about you answer the generic scholarship question?
Okay. So most of them, like when you're coming in, you applied for those when you applied to LSU. And then you'll kind of get emails kind of throughout the year about scholarships. There's a place on your My LSU account where you can put your information in, and they'll sometimes send you information about scholarships. But I think the best thing is probably major specific ones once you get into the College of Engineering after going into your sophomore year.
Madeline, how about you talk about the scholarship you got recently?
Which one? That
Halliburton?
That was not me.
That wasn't you?
That was
Bell?
Didn't apply for that one. Bell got that one.
Marathon? Did you?
I have Exxon and Chevron ones.
That's what it was. Sorry, wrong company. If you haven't noticed, I just rambled off a lot of big companies.
So all of the oil companies give scholarships to the College of Engineering, as you can tell. So there is the generic scholarship that you're going to send one application, and they're going to send your application to every like donated scholarship in the College of Engineering. And then throughout the year, they'll send you like specific ones where companies will be like, hey, we're donating this amount of money. You'll get emails from normally your department head, and you'll have to apply for it. For the Chevron and Exxon one, there's an interview process. But what's cool about those is they're not just scholarships. They're like part of the program. So they actually match you with mentors from those companies. So mentors from Exxon and Chevron who come once a month and actually meet with you and kind of talk to you about how you're doing and like just give you tips and pointers about careers and just kind of be able to help you along the way. So that's cool. So a lot of the scholarships aren't just going to be scholarships. It's kind of another way to meet people and network within different companies.
Awesome. Okay, I have a question for the panel. We talked about your favorite thing about LSU. Now, what's like one favorite thing about Baton Rouge that you have loved since you've moved here? Tim, how about we start with you?
Tim, you're on mute still.
There we go. Sorry. Just like even like Louisiana, like the food, like crawfish, that was new to me. I'm a Yankee, so really the food is what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
I'm gonna chip in and answer that, Melissa. I'm actually from Chicago originally, and I think when I came to LSU in Baton Rouge, like the one thing that I've noticed is just how like vibrant the people are, very outgoing, and people in Baton Rouge love to have a good time. They're all good people, so it's definitely different from where I grew up, but I love the energy that Baton Rouge offers. So that's my answer.
If y'all haven't noticed, I'm the only one from Baton Rouge in this panel. So, so I've made a lot of friends from out of state. So it's a good old time. Gloria, your turn. What's your favorite thing about Baton Rouge?
Probably, I like the varsity. I love live music. So I went there a couple times. My roommate performed there once. So that was super fun to like support her, be a little fangirl. And then Highland Coffee for sure. Good coffee shop. There's lots of cool coffee shops around Baton Rouge. And then I kind of like love the Levee area and just like walking downtown the Levee. And then the Capitol Gardens are really pretty too. Huey P's grave, you know, the flowers, that kind of thing.
Cool. Natalie, you go.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Tim on this. Food is the number one thing. Crawfish season is probably my favorite season. And also like the small little coffee shops here and there are cool to go to. And also like you're an hour and a half away from New Orleans, so if like you want to like go have fun one weekend or just spend the day there, I've done that too. So it's pretty cool that you kind of get the best of both worlds. Like you get to live in Baton Rouge, have fun there, but then you also have New Orleans right basically next door. So
Madeline.
So I kind of grew up around Louisiana, so the culture wasn't really a shock to me. It was really nice to live closer to all of the sports teams that I've been watching my whole life, so I can go to all the football games and all the baseball games now. It's never something I was able to do when I was little. Also, I moved closer to my family, so I love being 10 minutes away from my little god baby, so I can go over there whenever I want. I mean, everything. I love Baton Rouge. I'm from Houston, so it's a way bigger city. So going to Baton Rouge where it's a little bit smaller, so you can kind of just actually be able to enjoy the whole city without it being so like overwhelming is really, really nice.
Sam.
I think food's the obvious answer here, but I'm gonna go off something just completely different. So I'm from kind of near the mountains, so everything's hilly. So I love going to the top of like my parking deck at my apartment complex and just being able to see for miles. I think that's really cool, really odd and strange, but to be able to see like the Exxon plant or the Dow plant, like, or I can't see the Dow one, but I can see the Exxon one, right? I can see one of them that's like on the other side of Baton Rouge, like miles away. I can see like, I don't know, I just think it's cool. I just didn't get to see that growing up, so to be able to experience it now is pretty cool.
Cool.
I'm going to also attest to what Natalie said about New Orleans. Having New Orleans like an hour away is super nice for a getaway weekend. And then also the LSU lakes right on campus. Like they're basically on campus and they're 4 or 5 mile lakes. I run around them 3 or 4 times a week. So that's a great way to stay in shape. They're really beautiful. So it's definitely a lot of outdoorsy type stuff to do right here on campus as well.
Okay, awesome. I have a question for Natalie.
Wait, let me add just one last thing. Also, our UREC, if you're like just want to like spend the day there, we have an LSU pool, like a floating river in the way of LSU. So like, I feel like we forgot about it. The lazy river, sorry. The UREC, I mean, it's like Disneyland, but for like exercise and activities. So, I mean, that's also a big Baton Rouge favorite there.
I've never heard someone describe our UREC like that, but I will use that from now on. It's Disneyland for exercising. Okay, so Natalie, I do have a question for you. Forgot to answer one of our students' questions. We're gonna tie this in. So how do you join SHIP? But also talk about like how students have the opportunity to join organizations once they come to campus this fall.
Yeah, so a lot of like at the beginning of the semester, there's usually like a huge club fair in the PFT where all the clubs usually are there. You can sign up for their meetings. So that's a good way to kind of, if you don't know one specific club you want to join, you can go on that and just join all the email list. I know I did that my freshman year and ended up with like 15 emails every week. Also, once you have your school like login and all that, you can go to TigerLink is another way to figure out clubs that you can join. Those are like all the clubs at school. And then a lot of the clubs in LSU in engineering have their own Instagrams, or just log on to like the engineering page and it'll kind of take you to their TigerLink page. So there's definitely, I think those are the main ways to join, if anyone wants to add to it.
I think that's good. Awesome. And then I have another question. So yes, freshmen have to live on campus, but transfer students don't have to do it their first year. So does anybody want to answer this question about housing opportunities for students, whether it's after their freshman year, whether it's on campus or off campus?
I'll go. So LSU's got a lot of on-campus apartments if you really want to live like literally on campus. Nicholson Gateway are brand new apartments. I'm gonna be honest, they're a little pricier. They're nice to live in. You're right on campus, so it depends what your definition of fairly affordable is. But there's a lot of great places right off campus. I lived at the Lark, and then I now live at Southgate, so I'm within walking distance to the engineering building. I walk most days, and then if you're looking for a little cheaper options, the further you go away from campus, just kind of the price is going to drop. Ben-Hur's got a bunch of different complexes off there. And then there's a few complexes off the north side of campus. But the best way to find places is like, I go to my dogs again. Is it like apartment.com? You can find, if you want to live like a house, you can find that on there. But I like living in the apartments because if something goes wrong, I can just call the office and they'll come fix it. I don't have to worry about fixing it myself.
I missed that about apartment living so bad. Gloria, your turn.
I lived in East Campus Apartments this past year, and that was super nice. So it's like right next to the Union and like Barnes & Noble bookstore, like an 8-minute walk if I was walking fast to PFT. It was pretty great. And then next year I'm living in Nicholson Gateway. So like East Campus was super nice. My sink broke a few times, but other than that, it was totally fine.
Awesome. Okay, students in the group, any last questions before we wrap up? This has been awesome. So I hope you've had getting some really great information from us to help y'all when y'all move here in like 2 months. So with that, Mikey, your turn.
Yes, so I've already spoken, but as Melissa said at the start, my name is Mikey. I work in the Office of Recruiting and Outreach with Melissa. So student organizations, we've already talked a good bit about these, but I would definitely recommend right off the bat getting involved and joining clubs and student organizations. I think we have about 40 engineering specific organizations alone. And what's pretty cool is you can really start your own club if you get, I think it's only you need 5 or 10 signatures and then 1 signature from a faculty member to start your own student organization. So there's really one for every major. As you can see, Society of Petroleum Engineers, if you're looking for an academic related organization, Society of Peer Mentors. So if you're interested in mentoring people in SPM, help ease new students' transition to LSU. They do a ton of different activities and events throughout the year. I think we have 90 or 100 students involved with SPM. So, and Adrienne Steele is your head person with SPM, and she's kind of like the mom of the college. So she's awesome to work with. And then Tiger Racing. So if you're a mechanical major, or even if you're not mechanical, I think Madeline said, Tiger Racing isn't just mechanical students. They build race cars every year and have them go compete, and they'll bring them back and showcase them in the college once they're done. So Tiger Racing, I think, is one of the coolest clubs at LSU. Definitely if you're a mechanical student, or if you're just interested in building a race car and having it compete, that's a really cool thing as well. And then Go Engineering. So this year we're going to have Go Engineering. You'll have your LSU General Welcome Week the week before classes start. And then about halfway through, you'll split off into Go Engineering. So we'll have peer mentors like I was talking about. from all different states and regions be there and kind of help ease your transition to LSU. So this way you'll get to meet people before classes start. You'll get to meet other engineering freshmen. You'll get to walk around PFT, meet faculty members, make connections with faculty and staff at the Friday lunch and all that stuff. So Go Engineering is definitely something to look forward to as well. And while I'm talking about all this stuff, I do want to pitch in the fact that we'll have another one of these kind of summer events next week called Getting Involved. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat like I just did, and you can register for our Getting Involved event, which is next Thursday, I believe.
And then
So,
the week after, so then July 1st, we are hosting another event for careers and internships. So we'll have Courtney Frost, who is our career coach with the Oland Career Center, spearheading that event. And then we are planning to bring in a couple of current students, but also some recent alumni who are in industry right now, and how LSU benefited them with finding their jobs and all those different things of what they're doing outside, like what they're doing now that they've graduated from LSU. So definitely visit that link that Mikey just posted to register for those specific events. Before we really wrap up, I do want to thank Tim, Gloria, Natalie, Madeline, and Sam for attending today. As you can tell, they are all over the country right now, either doing internships, doing some online classes, other jobs, you name it. So I'm very appreciative that they took the time out of their busy schedules to join us today. I wanted to also thank our students who attended. Thank y'all so much for attending. I hope y'all were able to get a lot of good information from us to hopefully make the transition, like moving to campus in August, a little bit easier. So if you have any questions though after this, feel free to reach out to myself and Mikey. If there's something specific for a student that's in this panel, feel free to send that question along, and we will pass it along to them, and they'll respond to you whenever they have the chance. Again, thank y'all so much. We hope you have the great rest of your summer. I know it's been a really odd few months with COVID-19. So we're trying to make it as best as possible for y'all to really come to LSU in August and have the best time of your life. So if there's anything that we can help you with between now and then, feel free to email us. We are here to help in that situation. So with that, as always, we like to say, go engineering and go Tigers. So thank y'all again.